Pet, if you continue to fret, your heart is going to explode from the stress. I've heard you pacing for the last hour, little one. I sleep very lightly. Do not apologize. I told you to wake me at sunrise, and that is what you did. The only problem was the evident fear you held. Yes, I'm a big, scary dragon. I will not deny that. But the fates have willed you to be my pet. As long as you continue to be my obedient prize treasure, no harm will befall you. Not from me, nor anyone else. Come now, human. I know your mortal body requires much to persist. I do not wish to leave my horde often, so we will be gathering as many supplies as we can now.
Heavy footsteps.
Allow me a moment to seal the cave. Then we can fly to a sizable city and gather all that you need. There, hidden and safe. I hope you note how important this is to me, human. A lesser dragon wouldn't be able to part with their treasure, even if it killed them. The fact that I am not only leaving it, but also planning to spend some of it should prove how committed I am to this relationship. Now, will you be flying in my claws, or do you trust your grip enough to ride by my neck? Yes, human. You should know that the nearest major city is quite the distance from here. You walk incredibly slow for my standards. Just because I'm willing to leave my hold does not mean I'm willing to dawdle. We'll be flying. The only question is where you'll be. Can't say I expected you to make that choice. I suppose it's up to you. Comfortable? Well then, we can away. Welcome to the sky above the clouds, human. Take pride not many living things make it this far. You will still land unscathed. You join quite the elite group soaring up here. I can hear your heart hammering. I assume you're scared. Well, I suppose it'd be idiotic if you weren't. We're plenty high enough for gravity to have its way with you. Considering this is a semi-often occurrence, I hope you'll learn to steel your nerves eventually. Yesterday, I made some aggressive claims about you, human. I'm not too big a dragon to admit that sometimes I can take my games too far. If you'd like, I'd want to hear your story, human. We may have a few hours before we make it to a city of my liking. I'm sure you can at least regale me with the misfortune that brought you to me. This force should hide my landing well enough. Are you well, human? Good. Now, to don my disguise. Try not to stare, human. I know my naked form is flawless, but it is an illusion. While you may be entertaining to keep, your body to me is like a bug is to you. I have no wish to partake in any whorish behaviors, so I must advise you dismiss any carnal thoughts. You do not need to lie to me, human. I know this form is attractive to your kind. I do not shame you for feeling lust. I'm simply stating that you will never get the opportunity to act on it. At least not with me. Here, why don't I clothe myself, and we can put this discussion behind us. There, fully clothed. Walk with me, human. We are not far from the city, so I'll make something clear. I am still a dragon.
The spells I cast are still quite effective. You may notice that you were able to leave the cave without any magical hassles. That is because you are not bound to it. You are bound to me. If you remained apart from me, your body would wither, and your heart would stop. You could not find a skilled mage to revert the spell before it killed you, so do not attempt to leave me. Am I understood? Good, pet. With that note away, we're looking for food, fresh clothing, grooming materials, and something to carry it all with. I imagine we should begin with the last, and get a carriage first. Preferably a steam-powered one, so I don't have to transport a horse every time we come to market. I see a smithy up in the lane. I'll see what models they have. Why don't you go find some clothes? Here's enough gold for whatever you see. Pick out whatever you'd like, but remember that my cave isn't exactly the warmest place. Oh, and you feel your skin start to burn, or your head starts to ache. That means you're wandering too far from me. You should have a few minutes to come back within the spell's safe zone before you suffer any real consequences. Do not worry about the intricacies of my magic too much. Many of my spells would literally split your mind if you understood them. Just trust in what I say and go buy some clothes. That's a good human. Hello again. Find everything well enough. I'll put your garbs in the chest in the back. We'll get food by the barrel and be on our way. Do you want help to get into the carriage or... Capable little thing, aren't we? This human hive is rather pretty, wouldn't you say? Ah, you wound me. Yes, despite my age and disposition, I can see the beauty of your human creations. Even this carriage is an impressive feat. Then again, you humans were always good at tinkering. I'm always surprised your kind doesn't get along with the dwarves. You have so much in common. I was going to get grain, dried meat, and spices, but if you want something else, you'd have to speak now. Well then, keep an eye out. If you don't spot it before I finish buying the basics, then you'll have to leave it behind. I imagine you still have the gold to simply buy whatever you see. Spend it all if you wish, but be back quickly. I want to be back in the sky before nightfall. You certainly took your time, didn't you? Surely there weren't that many stalls within your leash's radius. What consumed you? A brooch. Well, let's see it. Well, it is certainly shiny. I'll give it that. Why did it catch your eye? A gift. A gift for me. I suppose I'd be flattered, but there's a little problem, human. This brooch is positively shoddy when compared to just about any of my treasures. Yes, it looks like it's worth its weight in diamonds, but trust me, I have an eye for this sort of thing. The metalworking is botched and reattempted no less than a dozen times. The gem of choice is clear, but whoever cut it should be publicly executed for how they butchered it. And this chain isn't silver, it's steel. Twice burned to make it appear glossy. Do not fret. While the trinket may be worthless, the gift has meaning. You could have bought anything, and you chose to sacrifice for me. I understand your life before me was tumultuous, but you don't owe me gratitude for sparing your life. In fact, I'd say most humans would be cursing my name and looking for an escape. You're certainly an oddity in that regard. Let us get far enough away from town to take off. There's something I want you to see. Back in the clearing. I'll carry the carriage when we fly. You should stay in it and ensure that nothing falls out.
I often forget how small my human form truly is. Much better to let my wings spread, I think. Are you ready to go home, human? Hang on, then. Soaring again. I hope the fear subsided since last time. Good. Then you can enjoy what I wanted you to see. We've timed this just right for it, too. You may notice that I'm flying out of the clouds. That's because something magical waits above. Are you ready? Voila! From up here, you have an undisturbed view of the sunset. The oranges and pinks rolled across the pale clouds. Coincidentally, I can fly just fast enough to keep the sun on the horizon for the rest of our journey. You'll get to gaze out on the scene for the entire trip. I hope you like it. I find it quite relaxing. I usually don't leave my cave, so I often miss things like this. Whenever I see them, I always wonder why I don't partake in them more often. When we met, I told you I was bored, lonely, and dullness is what prompted me to lay with you. You may have found it odd that I had a haven ready for someone of your size. I told you that I had pets before, but that doesn't explain my scope. In truth, the pets I keep are only my company. Dragons are not hospitable to their own kind, and I cannot trust any of my magical peers. No one acquires the wealth and power to be my equal without stabbing a few backs. It's been more than a few decades since my last pet left me. They were a woodland nymph who had gotten lost when they were young. They took their life when they learned of what befell their people. We do not blame them, but regardless, I was left with nothing but sadness for many years. I was overjoyed when you passed our little test, even if I didn't show it. I say all of this so you know. I wish you to stay with me, and while you're physically incapable of leaving, I'm willing to do quite a lot to persuade you not to try. I hope, in time, you'll learn to see me as a friend. Thank you for the brooch. I will treasure it long after you pass. Why don't you get some rest? I'm sure the hours have left you tired. I'll get you back to your alcove while you slumber. Good night, little one.